Hello, hello. Good morning. Today's Wednesday, I believe. Let me know how my mic is. I'm still on this mic, so if it's too loud, too close to the mouth, too far away, um, I think that noise is starting to subside, but I heard it a little bit this morning, so I don't want to risk it. I'm still going to stick on this mic for a little while. Tomorrow is my favorite celebration of my favorite country in the world, the 4th of July, Independence Day, the day we said to the British, no, thank you. We will take it from here. And we did. And I'd like to think Satan had a little part of that. And tomorrow we're going to celebrate. They're doing the parade like right outside of my front door, practically. So I'm going to try to stream it. And I don't know what the rules are on streaming in public, like streaming live public events to YouTube, if you need permission or consent or what. But I want to try to stream some of it. And then they're having fireworks later and some celebration. So if I don't do a stream tomorrow, I will be out and about and try to beam some stuff in. This is like just a little check-in. I don't know how long I'll be on. I wanted to mainly check in with you and for you to see if any of you needed to come up and talk or have a space this morning. Um, I'm pretty okay. I have projects around here to work on, and of course, our TV series that we're watching in the Discord. I do have an announcement to make and an apology. Yesterday, there was somebody that kept coming backstage that I thought was Cynthia. It was under her profile, um, calling me sexist and attacking me for making an all male panel yesterday, and it turns out it was not Cynthia. It was a troll. I have my ideas on who it could be. This person has impersonated Cynthia before, so it was not Cynthia yesterday that was saying that she has no problem with an all male panel. Those were not her words, so I need to take all of that back. That was not under Cynthia's name. That was a troll. And I did think it was slightly weird at the very beginning that this was going on the private chat. I got thrown off for a second. I'm like, well, Cynthia, just type in the main chat. Like, why would you type in the main chat? You put everything else there. Why do you have to put this in the private? I thought that was a little odd for Cynthia. But outside of that, once I got past that point, I completely bought into not necessarily Cynthia herself, but the idea that somebody in the community would have a problem with an all male panel. And since Cynthia has a pattern of being very vocal about her displeasures, it kind of fell in line with the little bit I know about her pattern so far. And it just, my brain clicked. That's how conspiracy theories happen. Once you can accept the explanation, your brain locks into it and it's really hard to dislodge, especially, I think, maybe for autistic people, because we tend to be a little more rigid once we get locked in. It's harder for us to make that shift, that cognitive flexibility. Although we can, it's more like turning like around a big ocean liner or a barge than a little motorboat or a speedboat. Um, so that's what I want to say about that. That was not Cynthia yesterday. So I still don't care if anyone thinks I'm sexist. I'm still doing all male panels. Today is an open panel. Um, I, it, it doesn't necessarily have to be all male today, but here's the thing I do want to minimize for myself and my own mental health is the amount of I just call it female energy or feminine energy. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. In fact, I was thinking about that this morning. I was reading some stuff about Aristotle and Plato, like his modifications of Plato. And Plato believed in the transcendent forms, the archetypes, and that was the true basis of reality. And physical reality was just a reflection of that. It was like a lesser reality than that. And so there's like a form of female or woman or femininity, and that all women, whatever that is today, all female beings partake of, and this essence is the defining feature of femininity, and individuals just embody or partake of that form. And Aristotle kind of reversed that, and I like his thinking a lot better. It's more a little more empirical and to me rational, and corresponds with what I experience in reality. He saw, instead of individual beings that participated in an archetype, and the archetype was greater than the being, he saw each being or even each object as what he calls substance. It was its own substance. And then he had these things called qualities that the substances could partake of. So, like, each individual person would be a substance, a human being would be a substance. And then there could be the quality of femaleness or femininity that some of them partake of. And he called that a universal instead of a form or archetype. So, like, all the humans that are tall are like taller than a certain height, an average height that we agree to call tall. They all partake of this quality called tallness, and that tallness is a universal, but it's only instantiated in the individual concrete particulars that exhibit it. And so, to me, you have individual humans, and then there's a quality called femaleness or femininity or female energy or whatever. And that can be embodied by certain humans, but doesn't necessarily, it doesn't have a metaphysical existence of its own. It's just a quality that shows up in humans. Oh, hey, Jess. Yeah. Oh, was that this morning? For some reason, Glenn is on my list. He shows up I don't know how I ended up subscribing to him, but so he was one of the few streams that were on this morning. And I just happened to popped in, and it was a conversation from like 30 years ago. I felt like I was walking back in time about, are people born gay? If you have a gay son or a son that's tended that way, can you turn him? Because I think the motive behind the belief is they want to believe that it's not um, inevitable, that it's not fateful, that there's something they could do to change or avoid their child being gay. And so if it's not born, if it comes from abuse or trauma or social influence or media that they get exposed to, then there's a small hope that they can make them not be gay. I still think there are some people in America, probably the minority, that secretly or overtly still don't want a gay child. But I also think the trans issue has kind of eclipsed that. So people are more worried about having a trans child now. And if they have it just a gay child, a lot of them are like, oh, good. At least he's just gay and he's going to keep his genitals. So, my comments on the conversation today were like comments. It was comments I was making 30 years ago to people in person when these conversations kept coming up. And it's interesting to see the different strata of how people gradually got accommodated to that reality. And I always thought that was a good thing. I was like, yay, this is progress, gay rights. But like with the pronoun thing yesterday on United Airlines, the actual pronoun police and the trans stuff, I'm like, is this what they felt like with the gay stuff? Because I'm having a really hard time adjusting to these new norms. And if the challenge I'm having was as difficult as the traditional people were having adjusting to the idea of men together or gay marriage, etc., I have way more sympathy for them now. I never was one of the gays that was like, yeah, bake the cake, make them bake the cake. That'll show them. I always had sympathy, like, guys, legally, yeah, but we don't have to push that hard. I mean, we still want to live in the same country together and everything. So I always stayed just on the line of that kind of militancy. Hey,
Hello.
Zatuichi,
What's
what's
up,
up?
Jeff? How
How's it
you doing
going?
today? Oh, I'm all right.
Pretty good.
I
Nietzsche
had
would
a
say,
I had a little shaving accident earlier, but
"You're kidding. Is that you're faking it, right? You got to
yeah,
be. That's your shirt." Because I
yeah.
had a kid do that to me in school. He had a red marker and he busted it open on his hand, and he said he was cut. Could he go to the office? And I believed him, and I let him go. And as soon as he left, something in my brain said, that blood was too bright and too red. I think I
Yeah.
just got tricked, and all the kids were laughing about it at recess.
Oh man. Yeah. Well,
What's up?
I just went to the grocery store wearing this because I don't know. Maybe I was looking for attention or something, but I sure got it because two people said, "Oh, hey, nice shirt," but they were like my kind of people, like tattoos and but it
Do
was
you
just
live in
funny.
an urban area or rural,
Suburban.
suburban?
Yeah.
Well, next time you can go with that shirt and a red hat.
Yeah, MAGA hat.
Yeah, or any kind of red hat. These I don't even think they read anymore. They just see the red hat.
Yeah, I
I,
know.
I might try that tomorrow, actually, on the 4th, because I have a red Bubba Gump hat, and I can put it on my head and go try to blend into the crowd. I think I
So,
will.
I don't
What's
know.
you have anything planned tomorrow? Are you in the U.S.?
Yeah. No, tomorrow it's just me and my mother hanging out, and I'm gonna make some baby back ribs, and
Oh,
that'll be it. No friends, no nothing. Because even my friends don't do anything for Fourth of July, or if they do, they go to their parents because they're younger. You know,
oh,
I hang out with a lot of 30-year-olds, and
are
it's like,
those considered younger?
to me, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
54.
I guess to me too. That's like a generation below
But
us.
but I get along with them like I get along with my old friends. It's like maybe I never grew up or something. But
Yes, that's I have considered that possibility.
what, for me or for you?
Me, me, and then other people. If it's me, it's probably applies to other people similar to me.
Yeah,
Speaking of, hey,
I haven't grown up.
how's your adulting going?
No, I'm so scary. I'm scaring all the little YouTube cult leaders around. They're afraid of me, so probably not do well.
Oh, I caught your little. I guess you could call it dialogue with Snafu today.
Yes, dialogue with Officer Snaps. Yes,
What happened? He ended up vanishing in a puff of smoke.
that's just how he leaves.
Did he
I
rage quit or he got? I thought he maybe got backstage. He just rage
no,
quit.
he wasn't. No, he just left. He just said
So he
this was
was on there puffing and blowing, uh, and then he just quits like that. He just leaves when he
yeah,
gets too. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
He doesn't have that much
Good.
stamina. So
I'm glad that's all on stream for the world to see.
yeah, me too.
Do
So
you
how you
have
doing?
anything? Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say hi to Hank.
Yeah, that was on Moose's stream, by the way. The producer Moose. So
Yeah, one of the many. Any of those. Do you? Hey, Christian. Yes, adulting. It because I have a theory on why. One theory on why. I think some of it is just manning up. The other theory is a lot of adulting is neurotypical adulting, and I think for different people, it doesn't always take the form of the neurotypical adulting, and so it doesn't look like adulting when it actually is our version of it.
but neurotypical adulting's not responsible anyway. So
That's
why?
true. I mean, I grew up with it. It was it was not the most stable thing either.
Because my parents need to borrow money from me because they couldn't they couldn't keep it together. So
Mm.
Well, Hank, you have anything going on tomorrow?
um, I'm off tomorrow, but I was gonna be off anyways because that's my weekend. So not
Any
so maybe I'll live for
parades or
fireworks.
fireworks?
Maybe, but you know what? I'd rather
You
I
should
don't really
wear.
care
Do you
about
have a
this.
red hat? You should. This is your chance to wear a red hat in public.
You know I have two red hats at least.
Wear your MAGA. Let's do MAGA. Let's wear our MAGA or MAGA adjacent hats tomorrow.
You know that he's already the next president, right? I mean, it's
Hank?
just no, not Hank.
Oh, Trump. I always get
I
excited. Like,
I don't know that. Pretty much, I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of both Biden and Trump.
No, I think Trump's in because
he's pretty much going to have my vote. I hate to say it. I'm
everybody
shocking
wants.
myself, but
Yeah, well, a lot of people voted against Trump not because they liked Biden, but because they hated Trump. You know,
yeah.
And
That's
now
kind of what I just didn't want another 4 years of Trump. And Biden seemed relatively sane and stable at the sane and stable at the time.
at the time, yeah.
Yeah, but had I known what I know now, I might have voted differently.
For me, their policies are too close to each other, and I know Trump's a
What?
bad
Not their
mentor.
DEI policies. Not where it hits my life. And after yesterday with the pronoun police lady, no way. That's our biggest fear. Those of us that complain about pronouns is that one day there's going to actually be pronoun officials that have the authority to
Yeah,
impose consequences. And we
I,
saw that happening in public yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, it's getting real.
I didn't
No
catch that
way.
part.
That I need to put the brakes on that as soon as possible. Stat.
Can you explain what happened? Because I didn't catch that part, and I don't
This
know.
lady with two or three kids her luggage was already on the plane, and she was given the boarding tickets, and she said, "Thank you, sir," and the person was a they, and they threw a fit, and
Oh,
so the pilot decided she was not safe to have on the plane. They did not let her board, and the kid's medicine was in the luggage that was still on the plane. They did not get her luggage off the plane.
oh, that's fucking ridiculous.
And they said it was because her luggage was too big, but there's a video where she's talking to this official from United Airlines, and the lady's saying, "This is because of what came out of your mouth. It's because of the verbal altercation that you had. This is the consequences of what you said," stuff like that. So it was definitely about something she said related to this guy's gender.
Hmm. And sir is if that's all they said was sir, that's a
The
term.
person had a dress on, but that doesn't mean you don't look like a sir.
Right, right. And I've had people call me out because I addressed them as the wrong gender. Like there was a person that was on here the other day, if you remember.
Oh, yeah, I hope they come back up.
They got mad at me because
Louis
I
Masson.
said him. But then like
On a panel, just like a random
yeah,
panel.
on a panel. But then a couple minutes later, was admitting that they are a biological male, and I'm like, well, what the
See,
fuck?
it's gaslighting.
Well, yeah, what did you kick me off the panel for calling you him if you admit that you were a biological male? I don't get it.
Yeah,
But
that's why I don't even play their game to begin with. I don't even
well,
get involved.
it's just I don't know what to do now. What do I say? What do I do?
Nothing. I call them whatever they look like to my brain, and I don't use pronouns. I tell them if they push it, I say my pronoun is faggot, and they leave me alone. I've heard people say I use traditional pronouns, and then they can figure it out from there. That's a elegant way around it.
By
But
the way,
I don't even give them because they're setting up a chessboard to play a game that is in their favor that they control. I don't even allow them to set that game up to begin with.
right. I mean, I was at work and this guy in a dress showed up and he had all these razor nicks on his leg because it looked like it was the first time he shaved his legs ever. And he was at work with us and he had long hair and looked like a woman, but not really. You could tell. And he came to our door asking where the men's room was, and I told him, and I called him dude. I mean, like, because what am I supposed to say? I mean, I call everyone dude, even women.
Yeah.
But he didn't seem to take offense. It seemed like he was just looking for attention, almost like, hey, look at me.
I think that's the key. It's their responsibility to not take offense. First of all, it's not illegal to offend somebody in the US as far as I know yet. Second of all, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to kill you. And I think the fragility that stuff like the incident yesterday encourages is worse than actual getting somebody's pronoun wrong.
Mm.
I don't know what this means. If this means get laid, I'm working on it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. There's a parade. You never know what everybody loves a parade.
Hey, I like that shirt, man. That's extremely satanic looking.
This one, oh, that's my
Stand up. Oh, meow. Yeah, that
it's
ruins
my
it.
little Satan kitty. Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
So yeah, I haven't looked at the news today. Let me peek at what's going on.
Nothing.
Well, I hope that's a good thing.
Yeah,
The latest, there's a hurricane headed somewhere, and then Biden, like all the talks about is Biden going to be the nominee?
Yeah. Probably not. I got to be honest.
You think he'll drop out?
I think they'll make him.
How do they make him?
They tell him, "Hey, you got to drop out," and he'll go, "I have to what? Oh, okay, I'll drop."
And he'll just do it?
Yeah.
Well, if if he bends that easily, then he was definitely not my candidate.
All right.
Oh, I'm gonna steal that one then. Oddly enough, there's not really a lot of faggotry around here. That I think that's one reason I hang out here. We used to say faggotry and sexcraft. Like it's just what gays get up to. Like when you have house parties or at the bars, there's just a lot of faggotry and sexcraft that goes on, and that was our phrase. But I like dispense with your faggotry too. I may bring dust it off and bring it back.
Well, people who aren't gay can also use that term. I mean,
Oh,
like,
absolutely. I give everybody a free F word pass for life. Just tell
yeah,
them
I
to come
mean,
talk to me if they give you any trouble. Tell them it was my pronoun.
well, I don't feel bad about saying it around people like Jamie because he says it.
Is that recovery, Jamie?
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked him.
yeah, he's cool. He's how I found your channel, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had a good talk that day. I hope he comes back.
Oh, he will.
Yeah, Daniel, that was my understanding too. There's nothing they could do but try to manipulate. I don't know what public perception. What is that going to even do? It's up to Biden. This is a perfect example of locus of control. Biden gets to determine this, and no other human being on the planet, unless they invoke this article.
But he'd be insane to think that he could do this for another 4 years, or even would want to do it for another 4 years. I mean, why would he want to do it? The
I
job
think
is
he
fresh.
thinks he's saving democracy by keeping Trump from the office. Not so much that he's doing it, but at least Trump's not doing it.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. I mean,
I think the left is kind of in hero mode. They have been for a while, even though it's their own shadow that they're fighting and that's
yeah,
tormenting all the rest of us. I wish that's the dragon they would focus on. I looked
even
up the definition of fascism the other day. I had an AI conversation. And then I went to the Pew political polling and I looked at all the political parties and where they fall on different issues. And the Republican Party looked to me like the least fascist
yeah,
of the party. They were for smaller government. Fascism is for large centralized government, which the left, particularly the more you got to the progressive end, wanted larger centralized governments. So when you look at the definition of fascism and map it to the political party, it is not the right that's
no,
looking like the fascist, and it's looking more like projection from the left, which is what
yeah.
they're fighting, their own shadows.
And you look at history and they say, "Oh, who was it that freed the slaves?" People say the Democrats. No, it was the Republicans. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. They
Yeah, the
ask
Democrats were
all
the
these
racists.
questions. Yeah, they ask all these questions about like things that would be bad for black people or minorities and whatnot, and it's always the Democrats that are the ones that are bad for the minorities, and yet they're the ones that the minorities think are the ones that are for them and are helping them, and they're not. You know?
Yeah, because the parties are abstract containers that change with the generation. So you can't look at the party as a stable entity. You have to look at the version of the party that's in front of you during that
Right.
election. And
It's like a
what I
football.
used to find in the Democrat Party, I'm finding more of now in the Republican Party. I didn't change. That's just where that's
Mhm.
the category that my values shifted over into.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because the Republican Party of today is definitely not the Republican Party of my childhood growing up
No, they
at
were
all.
actually
It's actually more like the Democrat Party that I remember.
when we were growing up, the Republican Party was basically just shunned as evil all the time.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
it.
how old you are, but you must be somewhat near my age. I'm 54, so you got to
Oh,
be.
I'm 53. We're the
Oh,
same
you are?
age.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes. You remember.
yeah. The good old Reagan years, those oppressive Reagan years that I would do anything to get back.
Yeah, I remember the day he got shot. I saw it on the news. And
I was thinking about that today. Like we had a president, we got to see a president get shot live on TV. What other generation got? No president since then has been shot. That like the younger generation didn't get to see that. That was wild seeing your president
well,
get shot on TV.
I was born on the day Kennedy was shot, but 6 years later, you know. But they got to see that. See him
Yeah.
get his head popped off right in
Yeah, our
public.
parents. That was the end of their generation, kind of that Camelot
Yeah.
American romanticized version of reality. And then the
Yeah.
60s took over and everything got crazy. It still is.
LSD came around.
Yeah, I kind of got the sense that Biden wasn't necessarily like that he was collaborative in his decision making. I'll say it that way. But I would not say that his DEI policies are competent, especially after that United incident yesterday. Some things he did, and I actually did a stream where I went over this article that Noah Smith wrote, where he goes over all the things that Biden did better than the other presidents, and I thought it was a very fair look at Biden's accomplishments, and I went over it on the stream. So I give credit to Biden for what he did do. I'm just worried about the ideology that he's supporting and its potential to impact the society that I live in.
Yeah. It's worrisome. And if he dies, look at Kamala Harris, man. You want her to be president?
That's another reason I'm going to
Yeah.
end up voting for Trump. I do not want a President Kamala at all. He's even worse than Biden for all the stuff I'm worried about.
She's terrible. She can't make a when she makes a speech, it sounds like a third grader's book report. You know, like you ask them, what is a community about? And she'll say, well, a community is all about community because without community, you can't have a community. You know, and it's like, shut the fuck up. You're just referencing the same word over and over.
They had that. What's that saying? Where we're going to
Yeah,
unburden by the. There's a clip of her saying
I
that
know.
like 50 different times over and over, and people analyze it linguistically, and nobody can make sense of what she's saying. It has no grammatical sense to it.
It's childish. It's like a little kid writing a book report, you know? It's the only way I can think of it.
I think it's pathos over logos, and it's a particular kind of pathos that appeals to an audience with a psychology that is very foreign to me. I didn't grow up with Sesame Street either.
Oh, I did. I loved it.
We had Captain Kangaroo.
Oh yeah, I had that too. Yeah.
Do you remember what made the ping pong balls drop? Like the Moose was always trying to trick him into saying or doing something, and then the ping pong balls would drop. And every time he'd get the captain, it was like Lucy in the football. He'd get the captain to think that they weren't going to drop. But I can't remember the actual thing that triggered the drop that the Moose would try to trick him into.
I don't remember that. I remember Mr. Green Jeans.
Yeah, Miss Green was cool. Speaking of Mr. Green Jeans, right on cue.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey.
One of the stories that kind of got swept under the rug was the judge that handled Trump's New York case. He pushed the sentencing back to September, and he also wrote a little note on there if the charges survive the immunity ruling.
You're right, because they have to go back and reevaluate the charges now and figure out which ones fall in what category.
Yep. And even the judge wrote on there if they hold up now.
Right, and that's going to put more delay too, so it probably won't get resolved in time.
It also pushes back the Washington D.C. the 4 charges there. It pushes that way back now.
You know what though? At this point, I wonder if it's even about whether Trump's a crook or not. I think people are willing to accept that he's a crook and still willing to vote for him. So yeah, I don't think the trials are going to even change anything much. I think the people are going to vote for him. That happened with Edward Edwards in Louisiana. We didn't care if he was a crook. He was still the better candidate to keep the worst one from winning.
Well, you knew what you were getting.
Right. That's another thing. I've had 4 years of Trump and I've had 4 years of Biden, so I know what I'm getting with. I've sampled each one. I have the data I need to make the decision. I know which one I prefer. And believe it or not, it's the Trump years
Yeah.
because of the DEI stuff. I didn't
I
know
didn't.
all
Yeah,
that was going on back then. I would have seen them differently.
What's
Yeah,
the
I did not like the Trump years, but he submitted to Lord Fauci, had me locked up, and then his boss at the neoliberal, he mistreated his own cabinet so much. I can't stand to vote for Donald Trump again, especially after January 6th.
It was chaos, but I will take chaos over the woke totalitarianism that is headed our way, like as the alternative. I can do chaos more than I could do the kind of order they're trying to impose.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Because
And
the order they're imposing is chaos in the end.
for me, for sure.
Uh,
Daniel, there's no evidence that the Supreme Court was manipulated. In there, I read the ruling, so you'll have to show me this manipulation. I know there's a conspiracy theory about it, but I don't see any actual evidence behind it yet.
yeah, I didn't see no manipulation.
And the
Yeah.
ruling really was pretty cogent and straightforward. Like I didn't see anything that looked manipulated about it, that looked other than legal reasoning.
Now,
Yeah.
is this the ruling that Amy Comey Barrett went against in
She
Brown
dissented
v.
on one
Ford?
part, and I actually agree with her version. It's a little more sensible. I think it's a little more of a check and balance. So at least she's on record for the future that look, if their way doesn't work, here's an alternative y'all might want to consider.
Yeah.
Maybe, but what do you want to do? Not have politicians? We need them. Like sociopaths have a role to play in society if they could keep their mask in place. They're at the top of the corporations. They probably are at the top of politics.
Not even sociopaths, but even psychopaths. They say that
Right.
there's some of the ones that are the go-getters that change society and and create new things. And
Yeah.
I could be considered somewhat of a sociopath, but I'm not one of those people that seeks power. I'm
Right,
not-
and there's non-sociopaths that will seek power and fall into power dynamics. So it doesn't even take sociopaths. But for some reason, even with all of that, our system still more or less keeps trudging along and has the resiliency to withstand it so far.
Yeah.
Based humanity. I remember Electric Company.
Remember the
And 321 Contact.
Rita Moreno used to be on it.
Yeah, I forgot she was on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember she was sinking in quicksand one day, and it disturbed me. I was like, "That's like,
On a
wow,
kids
that's
show,
terrible."
right.
And then I'm thinking, and then later on in life, quicksand didn't turn out to be that big of a deal. I never had to deal with it.
You were in it?
No.
Oh, right. Other than the Pitfall Atari game.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only place I ever encountered
That
it.
was a great game.
I was in the Pitfall Club. You
Were
could take a picture of your TV and send in your score, and they sent you all this swag.
Those are the days, man. I mean, granted, video games are so much better now, but back then we loved it.
Well, the thing I liked about it is it had one button and one handle, and I could work the controller. I can't operate today's controllers.
Well, today
At
you
all.
got to know like 12 buttons and 6,
I
levers.
could barely do Nintendo. That was too complex.
Yeah. Yeah, I never played Nintendo, to be honest. I skipped that whole part of it because that's when I turned 21 and I was going to bars and I didn't care
Oh
about
yeah,
games,
you were
I was out and about.
you were maturating. Yeah, Rick, that's right. And I was the cable generation, but we were too poor for it, so we still did shit out real, and it was more fun. All TV did was make me make me want to go do the real thing. So whatever we saw on TV, we just went out and acted it out in real life. It was way more fun
Well, that's how it was for me with Star Wars. I saw that when I was 7.
in the theater.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
77.
Yep. And me
Yep,
and my
same
friends,
here.
we would get broom handles and we would have lightsaber battles. You know,
That's
why not?
cheating. Chuck, uh, Chuck, our patriot. Talk to me about tomorrow. What do you have going?
Tomorrow. What is tomorrow? The 4th?
Yeah.
I'll probably be building a duck house.
No, huh? On the 4th?
Well, sure.
Do you get to pop off fireworks where you are?
Yeah, we can buy all those big ones if we want, but
You should do a fireworks show and stream it.
well, it's been so dry. I don't want to set everything on
Oh,
fire.
right. Yeah, and with the mowing and everything.
Yeah, I mean, this grass
Yeah,
will go up in a heartbeat.
that's all we need. That's not the kind of content we're looking for.
No. I lived through one fire. I don't want another one.
Oh, you did? Is this a Chuck story?
Well, 4 years ago, when I lived up by St. Louis, my house burned down.
Were you in it? What?
Yes.
What? Okay, I want to go. Action.
The stove. I went in to cook the kids some lunch. I was cooking him a pizza in the oven. And I had it in there, and I went back into the bedroom to do something. And my wife hollered from the other room that she smelled smoke. And I thought, she's crazy. I said, I'm cooking a pizza. She said, no, I smell something. So I walked back to the kitchen. Well, I guess it was the kitchen. It was all in a blaze. So I ran back to the bedroom, and I told them we had to get out because of a fire. But I was real calm about it, so she thought I was bullshitting. And then I started screaming. I said, no, get the hell out. The house is on fire.
Oh, I'm laughing.
Well, by then, there was about 2 to 3 feet down from the ceiling, the big black cloud.
Ooh.
So I grabbed my son, and I put his hands in the backside of my blue jeans. And I said, you hold on to me and don't let go till we get outside. So I get outside, I turn around, and he's not there. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So I had to go back in, and when he seen all the fire and the smoke, he froze because he's got that autism.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to grab him and drag him out. But by the time I got out, I looked like I was almost as black as Hank was from all the soot. Oh, it was terrible. But it was in winter time, and me and him, all we had on was a pair of blue jeans, no shoes, no nothing. The wife at least got out with some clothes on, and oh yeah, it was something else.
So it was just the three of you?
Yeah, but the fire department was on 4 other fires, so we had to wait our turn.
Did you try to get the hose or something?
It was past that.
Oh, so y'all just had to sit there and just watch it burn?
Well, the ambulance got there within 4 minutes of us calling, and he got on the radio and he started hollering. Well, when people finally started, 45 minutes later, when departments started showing up, we had 9 different fire departments showed up at the same time.
Oh my
and the
God.
house was taking away time.
Yeah, it was already gone.
Oh.
What did your son end up eating that night?
The hell if I can remember.
Ugh.
We were all kind of in shock.
Well, I'm going to ask this because I know some viewers are going to wonder, were you sober?
Yes.
Okay.
That was
Good.
4 years. I sobered up in 2000.
So this was recent. This was like 4 years ago?
4 years ago, yeah.
Oh, okay. So not from childhood story.
No. This was 4 years ago.
Wow.
But
Do you have insurance?
yeah.
Thank God.
Well, it got me out of there. I was planning on selling anyway prior to the fire, but insurance wanted me to rebuild. They wanted to pay $147,000 to rebuild. However, if I'd have went ahead and rebuilt brand new house, the most I could have sold it for was 25
Wow.
for the
What the heck?
area I lived in. East St. Louis, Illinois. If you look it up, you'll see it's not a real good community. It went from a good community to poverty big time.
Oh, what happened?
Well, I took half of what I was entitled to and just walked away from it.
Oh. No, I mean, what happened to the community?
Oh, it got impoverished. Everybody having bars on their windows. The businesses were all but shut down. We had to go to another town for grocery stores, things like that.
Oh, even while you were living there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen towns. I come from towns like that, actually.
That's why I made the decision to go ahead and we just started the process of looking for a new house. And then about a month into it is when the house burned down.
Oh.
Damn.
Well.
And then COVID hit and everything was shut down. So we were in a holding pattern where we couldn't do anything for about
This was
6
right
months.
before COVID.
Do you know what started
Right at the very beginning. Yeah, the stove shorted out.
Oh.
So,
It wasn't just the pizza. There was something wrong with the stove.
Yeah, it was an electrical.
Oh, okay. I thought you just left the pizza in too long to cause fire.
No.
It was the stove.
Yeah,
so it would have
oven,
happened
the
anyway
oven.
with something else.
Yes.
Okay.
Whether it had been pizza, it's just the oven shorted.
Electric stove?
Yeah.
What brand was it? Well, never mind. I don't want to.
It was a Kenmore Sears.
Was it like an old one or a new?
It wasn't that old. Maybe 8, might have been 8, 10 years old at that stage.
You never know, man.
They took it away and they were trying to determine the cause because the insurance company was going to try to sue Sears to get the money back, but they were unable to exactly determine what malfunctioned, so therefore they couldn't blame it on them.
Sears have any money? I don't think Sears barely exists, really, even 8 years ago. So
I miss Sears.
I'm trying to think. Well, let's see. It would have been 8 years prior to 4 years ago when the last time I replaced the appliances. So
2014,
2012,
during Obama's
something
second
like that.
term.
Yeah.
But before the Trump era.
The 20 teens, yeah.
That's not too bad. I don't know how old appliances are supposed to last, but
I think it was right before Sears actually went out of business.
Right, I remember that. And Montgomery Ward's, J.C. Penney, Sears, and during Christmas you get the big thick ass catalogs with the toys in it. Sometimes they'd put a separate toy catalog, and they had it where you could put your order and you could go pick it up at these little stores, delivery stations. So they didn't even have to bring it to your house. Catalog shopping as a kid was one of the most amazing things.
Dude, they used to send the toy,
wish book, Christmas wish
paper.
Yeah, that's where Santa would I thought that's how Santa knew what kids wanted. Like he was working with the catalogs to get the Christmas list for the kids made. Because the minute it came in the mail, it was covered in brown paper. We'd rip that paper off. We'd grab our paper and our pen, and we'd go right to the toy section. We'd start making that list.
Well, we were talking about Star Wars earlier. I remember I wanted the Millennium Falcon toy.
Oh yeah.
And I used to fucking put myself to sleep at night just dreaming about having it and and being in my grandmother's house playing with it and it's like, and then that catalog or the newspaper would come and they would have like a little flyer or whatever that would just be all the toys and you would see it in there, and I would just sit there and stare at the picture and I was so enthralled by it. And now having been through many experiences in life, some of them extremely psychedelic, it's like I realize that things do not matter. I don't think about things like that anymore. I don't covet something.
What
Like I
changed for you? Just gradual experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've grown up. I said I've grown up. I've grown up in a lot of spiritual ways. I haven't grown up in a lot of like normal person ways. You know, like when it comes to being a fake motherfucker, at work, like at an office, and you being like, "Oh, hello, good morning," and "Did you have your coffee?" Ha ha ha. I can't do all that stuff. It's like I'm too real to play the game.
Does it scare him, or it does something to him? I've noticed that too. But if you don't play the game or do the dance, it throws them off in some kind of way
They don't like you.
where they don't know what to do.
And they will actively persecute you because they don't.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes there's hostility.
Yeah. Oh, there's always hostility with me because
It's like fight, flight, or freeze or
I never
fawn.
say anything mean, but it's just they don't like my attitude. And
Yeah.
I'll
Especially
say,
because you're an outsider. You're like out group. They
yeah.
see you differently because
And I've
they
always
don't know you
worked with
threaten them.
mostly women too. So that's another thing.
Yep. Hey, Stinky. Daniel, oh my God. You're breaking my heart right here. Same with us. Same way.
Mm.
And they used to tell us, like our grandparents used to tell us how we're lucky to have the toys we have. Because when they were growing up, they had to make dolls out of clothespins and yarns and play with rocks and sticks and stuff. And so we always felt appreciative for even the little bit of toys that we
Yeah.
had. We were
Yeah.
But their rocks were cheaper than our rocks.
the what?
Their rocks were cheaper than our rocks.
Yeah, they were. We had the rock garden too, and the sea monkeys did not work. Do not get your kids sea monkeys. Kids, do not waste your money on
I
sea
had
monkeys.
them.
Did they work for you?
Yes, they
I tried them like 4 or 5 times. They
no, man.
never worked.
I had them for a while. They looked like little sperms at first with the long tail. And then I remember watching one of them when it turned into the actual sea monkey, the brine shrimp, that it grabbed onto the tail of one of the little larva embryos, whatever, and it was riding it. It
Oh
grabbed
my
onto the
God.
long tail of one of the tadpoles, if you will. I don't know what you call them, but it was like a tadpole.
Yeah, they make it look like it's little people, and they live in this little
No,
undersea
well,
village and everything. I didn't even get the little specks floating in the water. I could get the rock crystals to grow. I could get all the other stuff to happen. I could not get those sea monkeys.
yeah, they don't talk and they don't have little societies like we were led to believe, but
That was that programming.
yeah, but they were real, and they're just brine shrimp. That's all they are. They're useless little animals.
I remember the pet rock, and another thing I remember was the lump of coal you could buy in a little box to
I
put
had
in
a pet
people's
rock.
stockings. It's called lump of coal, and those were like a big seller during Christmas for a few years.
I had a pet rock. My cousins bought it for me because it was the thing. You know, it was the fad.
I've seen people take a rock and paint on it and call
Yeah,
it a pet rock. I
yeah,
wouldn't pay money for a rock. Sorry.
no. Well, I didn't pay for it. I was a kid. I was like 4 or something or 7 or 8. I don't know.
I did pay for Mexican jumping beans one time. We were on
I had those
vacation
too.
and we stopped at a souvenir shop and we got to pick out a souvenir. And I picked out jumping beans because they made it look like you could pour them in your hand and they would hop around. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not what happened.
No,
But
they
there's
just
some seed or something with a bug in it or something that
it's a
does
worm.
make
Yeah,
it jump.
it's
And
a
I thought
worm.
yeah, something like that. But these didn't work at all.
No, mine jumped for a little while. They
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 did?
went, yeah, they went for about maybe a good week and a half, and then
Are
I
you
think
serious, man? Why did any of my toys work for me?
I don't know. Yeah,
Well, at
but
least the
it's
pop
all
rocks work.
weird shit. It's like I think people like us are drawn to the unusual. You know.
Because it was so normal, like the unusual was so normal growing up. Because we didn't have a lot of flash and glitz and blitz like they do now. It was
No,
basically just the 70s landscape. Even cities weren't even built up to the levels they are today.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't a lot on the horizon to catch our attention. And so there were like everything was weird and interesting to us.
Yeah, yeah. Like I was interested in astrology because they used to you would put a quarter in a machine, like a gumball machine, and you would get your astrological
Oh, the little rolled up
scroll.
fortune.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the scroll. Yeah, remember
Actual
that?
scrolls. Yes.
I still have one.
Oh my God. They still make them?
No. Shit, you could just go on the internet and have somebody do
That's
it for
true.
you.
And they had that gypsy fortune teller, that box.
Oh, Zol.
Yeah, she had a
I
name.
don't
Yeah,
know.
they had all kind of shit. And they didn't have video before video games. They had pinball. That was
Yeah,
the big thing at the
I hate
arcades.
pinball. I don't know why. I just don't like it. I'm a video game guy.
Yeah.
Pinball to me is just it's too old. It's like that's my father's thing. That's not my thing, you know.
Tommy, I can't work any of it. And most of the players I saw had to like move the table. They were like lifted up the table and shake
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And
They
it's like,
never could seem to just play with the controls.
well, you can't or you'll lose.
So it was not the didn't look like the game for me.
You'll lose, man. You gotta fucking tilt that thing. I
The
don't know.
preppies and the nerds and the burnouts. That's right. I'm
Do you-
proud of our generation. The
Do
Breakfast
you
Club.
remember Galaga, the video game?
Yeah.
That was my thing.
Space Invaders was the first, and they had Centipede, Galaga. There's another one, Defender, maybe.
Galaxian.
Yeah, they showed up. Yar's Revenge. They showed up
Oh
at the
yeah.
arcades, and then they'd make their way onto Atari.
Yep, Yar's Revenge. I remember that one. Oh my god. Back then we had no idea. We had no idea what was coming.
No, none. Still not sure.
No, man, video games are great though. A lot of people give them shit and say, "Oh, you know, this is the cause of violence in today's society." No, it isn't.
Not any more than gangster rap or rock music or
Or
any of the
anything
other
else.
stuff,
Or
like
TV,
horror movies.
TV, anything. You know.
I remember the ball roller thing. Now that the paddle. They had
Trackball.
one you could turn. Yeah, but I was never good at the trackballs at all. That's way too much. I need something with very discrete coordination, and the trackball was too open ended for me.
Yeah, it's
And even the track mouse pads, I'm terrible at. The music in the '80s video. Well, you would love Provo Planet's channel because that's all he puts on there.
really.
Yeah, every time he has a live stream going, I pull it up, thinking it's going to be a panel, and it's some '80s video game music. I think he makes it himself, actually. That's a genre. I have friends that make video game music, and it's that '80s Casio sounding stuff.
Yeah. I have an old Casio keyboard, but it's not that old, like where it would sound 80s, you know.
Oh, I had one in the '80s. I think it was a Yamaha.
I kept it because I'm a musician, and mine's a Yamaha too.
Oh, do you have a channel, like a music channel or a Bandcamp?
No, I just have my channel, and there's a couple videos of me playing bass along with songs badly.
Oh,
It's like, you know, it's the first time I ever played the song, so I just posted it. I didn't care.
is it Paranoid Bass Practice? Don't forget about me bass. Oh, is that Simple Minds? Synchronicity? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Does this get you copyrighted, or if you play it yourself, does it not count?
I don't know, man. They keep telling me that it's banned in some countries.
Oh
and,
yeah, Russia doesn't like anything.
Yeah, and they tell me that they post the album cover, and they state the song and the artist on my videos. You know what I mean? Like if I'm doing The Police, they will show at the bottom of the description, they will show the album cover, and they will say this is.
Oh, like automatically? They'll just add it in there.
Yeah, automatically, right?
Do you still get that takedown notice of like this country banned you?
Well, I haven't done any bass videos in a while, so I don't know. I haven't had any messages lately.
Is it the real Homer Simpson? What's
There is no real Homer Simpson.
I mean, is there a band called Homer Simpson? Or are you talking about it some character, the cartoon character that somebody set to base? What's the stump fiddle? I feel like I should know that.
I don't know. Is that something to do with prison?
Or West Virginia.
Yeah, right. Make a fiddle out of a tree stump.
Look it up.
There we
Okay,
go.
let's do that.
All right, I'm game.
Is it gonna get my channel struck? Let's see. Home of the stump.
No, I don't think it's bad.
Oh yeah, I've never seen.
Oh wow, look at that thing.
Here, I'll share it.
Devil's stick, they call it, right?
A devil stick?
That's what I'm coming up with. It's STUNPF.
This one
Stump.
calls it stump fiddle, but let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too small. How do I get back?
Sometimes called a polka cello, bum bass, or humstrum, melds percussion and string instruments. It is in no way
I've
a
never.
fiddle.
Did you have you made one, Rick? West Virginia. Oh, because I come from a folk culture. I know that I kind of have a sense for this stuff. I love folk cultures.
Yeah.
Get one. Do you, if you know of a sample of one that we could play without getting copyrighted, let me know. I don't think I've ever heard of swamp fiddle.
Jeff,
Let me.
are you a recovering alcoholic or drug user?
I'm not. I work like I in the field I work in. I have lots of friends that are.
Okay,
Are you?
because well, no, I'm just sitting here drinking a beer in front of
Oh
you.
no, that's people are. I don't babysit anybody. People
Okay.
are. If they're watching the stream and the beer bothers them, they can turn it off. Or most alcoholics I know though know how to manage their triggers. Like it's.
Yeah, I'm not an alcoholic in the sense where I get, out of control and start slurring and all that shit. I'm just having a couple beers to take the edge off. I got PTSD, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. Was that from
No,
service?
no,
Just personal?
no. I've just had a lot of situations where I could have lost my life. Guns were pointed in my face.
Wow.
My
You sound
father.
like you had more of an exciting life than Chuck.
Who's Chuck? Oh, Chuck that was on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had an exciting life. I could probably write a goddamn book about it. People tell me I should, but I don't know. Who would read it?
Or a movie or something.
Who would read it?
Yeah, who reads anything anymore? They would make it into a video. At least they'd watch it or listen to it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, people are desperate for new stories though these days, so maybe it could be successful. Who knows?
And even if it like people see and hear themselves in other people's stories, and I think just putting stories out there is valuable because you never know when someone else's story is going to intersect with it or resonate with it.
Well, here's an example. My nickname is the Creature, and I won't get into the details, but something happened one day with a road rage incident that involved me and another person, and I just did I did a simple little trick that made them cause an accident for themselves. And my friend said the other day, my nickname is Creature. So he said the other day, some asshole almost made me pull a creature.
Oh,
So, but what you're saying about how somebody's story, other people can identify with it, and that's an example right there, of how someone identified with my experience.
yeah, that's true. I think that's one of the. I mean, you could do a lot of introspection, but I think that's one of the easiest and in some ways best ways to know ourselves and learn about ourselves is what catches our attention in other people
Well, I'm
that
very
we
honest.
relate to.
I'm honest. Everything I say is true. If I tell you I did something, I did it. If I tell you that I did something bad, then I definitely did it.
Well, it sounds like with this guy you purposely caused a wreck.
No, he was fucking with me. I was doing 100 miles an hour in the left-hand lane of a 2-lane highway, and he came flying up behind me and started high beaming me, flashing his high beams, and all he had to do was get in the right lane and
It was
pass.
a civilian.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I turned on my lights, and I turned them off real fast. So it made it look like I was hitting my brakes, and he panicked and caused his own accident.
with himself or with you?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
with himself. Because he didn't know how to drive that fast. And yet he's trying to fuck with me.
wow, it sounds like the Wild West out there.
Oh, it was. But this was years ago, I mean, I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations is passed, if anyone cares. But this guy, he was asking for it. And all I didn't hit my brakes. I didn't do anything. All I did was I flicked my lights on real fast. And he lost his shit. He thought that I hit the brakes, and he slammed on his at 100 miles an hour. And guess what happens when you do that?
I hope he was okay. Daniel Price, your kid.
No, he was okay. He was okay because I took an exit and turned around and went back home, and I saw him and the cops on the side of the highway, and he was fine.
Oh, okay.
He was just a stupid son of a bitch. That's all.
Daniel, when do we get to hear them? I want to do a premiere. You fish-eyed fool. You old sucker. What else did you say about him? What was her catchphrase?
Fish-eyed fool.
There was another one. Let me look her up. I should know this. This should be encoded in my brain.
Oh, Jeff, you might like this story. One time I pulled up to a stoplight next to these two dudes, and I had hair down to the middle of my back. Okay. This was back when I looked like, a metalhead.
Oh.
And these two guys sitting in the car next to me, they start calling me a faggot. And I'm not gay. I just had
Just
the long hair.
because of the long hair? Is this in the suburbs still?
Yeah, oh yeah, pretty much. So I had a Budweiser can, unopened Budweiser can next to me in the car, and I took the can and I threw it. You see how my hand is right now? I threw it like this, like backwards, kind of, and I just whipped it at the kid. And he had sunglasses on, and it hit him right in the face, smacked him in the sunglasses, knocked him off of his head, knocked his head back. And then I took off, and they started chasing me and shit. And I went around the corner and, trying to lose them. And when I went around the corner, my car spun out because I was going so fast, and there was this huge cloud of dust. And then I just got my car the right way again and started driving slow. And right there is a cop. And he sees the huge cloud of dust, and he sees me, and he's looking back and forth, and he's so confused because I'm going slow, and he couldn't figure out what the hell happened. But that's another little story.
That sounds like a real life Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, dude, I've had a life. I didn't ask for that trouble. I was minding my own business, and they start calling me a faggot,
Because of the long hair. Now
Yeah.
you'd probably get called trans or ma'am.
I don't know. But maybe they'd be afraid to call me anything now.
Yeah, they could work that way too. They could have the actual pronoun police drive up on you or on them.
Yeah, as soon
In
as you
England,
call
they
me-
have that. Like if you tweet something on Twitter that offends somebody, they could call the police, and the police will come to your house and talk to us about this tweet you just made. Did you know that's harassment? You need to come down to the station and talk to us, etc.
That's not harassment. That's fascism.
Because their free speech laws are different than America. That's why I love our laws here so much around that.
Yeah.
Jump in a bar. I'm sorry. I posted that before I completely read it. Let me put it back in the back. Cute,
That's
Daniel. Yeah, we had a four-wheeler. We pretty much lived out the Dukes of Hazzards and our bicycles too. We played all kind of games on the bikes.
Yeah. I used to pretend because I was alone all the time, and I had a 10-speed bike, and I used to pretend that it was an X-wing fighter from Star Wars, and I would ride it around, and it was just stupid, but I was so goddamn bored.
Did you have like friends or neighborhood kids or school
Not
kids? Anybody?
not so much because I grew up in the inner city, and I didn't have a lot of friends from there
Oh,
because I was always out in the suburbs at my grandparents or just somewhere else. So I didn't have a lot of friends as a kid. And the ones that I did have, I would see them occasionally. So it wasn't like an everyday thing.
oh yeah. So that did leave you playing alone a lot.
Yeah, I was my own entertainment. I had to make up things with my imagination to keep me interested in life.
That was some of the most fun part.
Yeah.
To me, I played a lot by myself too because I'm the oldest, so I had like all this time before the siblings came along, and then when they weren't around, I had to entertain myself. So it was like a mix of. Plus, a lot of times they weren't really into the stuff I was, so I ended up having to play by myself anyway because it was
Yeah.
just too weird and different to them.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time in my head, but I had school friends that could kind of enter into that world together. So I think that helped a little bit.
Did you read a lot of books?
I did. I was big into like the Hardy Boys
Oh yeah, I
and
read
the
those.
Nancy Drew mysteries, and I
Yeah,
honestly thought that's what the world was like the little town they lived in, and how the people were so professional and normal, and
yeah,
society just worked except for the few bad guys that people like me could easily go and catch. And
yeah.
I just grew up in this very romanticized vision of America through those books, which were dated even at the time I was reading them. They were
They're
written in
from
like
the
the 30s and 40s.
yeah. It's true though. I read those books too. The best Hardy Boys book out of all of them is they had something called the Hardy Boys Detective Handbook,
Oh, I remember that.
and that taught you. It had nothing to do with the goddamn Hardy Boys. It had everything to do with real detective methods. It was like teaching you how to be a real detective.
Yeah, I remember that one. And
Yeah.
they had a TV series for a while.
Oh yeah, with
I tried to watch, but
Sean
Sean Cassidy and Parker
yeah,
Davidson, and then
yeah,
Pamela Sue Martin was Nancy Drew.
that's right.
Yeah.
Who remembers that? Nobody.
Oh, this one does.
Yeah, I remember.
Because that's all we had. We had like a few TV stations with the same. We all got the same show, the Waltons, all
Buck
that stuff.
Rogers in the 25th century or whatever,
They
21st
had
century.
the old timey Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah, yeah, with Lauren Green.
Yeah, and they had those. They look like slee stacks. Those lizard people, aliens that they would fight.
I don't remember. There's the Cylons. They were like the robots with the
These
red
were
head,
reptiles.
red eye.
We had the action figures, and they had like they were little nets, and they had like big bug or frog eyes, but they looked more like lizards.
Yeah, I had Star Wars action figures, and my dad made me give them away.
What? We
Yeah,
had those too. That's how I know half the characters from those action
well,
figures.
they had action figures that you wouldn't know the name of the character in the movie, but they came up with it afterwards. Like in the cantina, I think they had
Yeah, like
walrus head or something like
yeah, I
that.
remember Walrus Head and Greedo, and
Greedo, yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay. Here's the Battlestar Galactica alien. At least this is the one we had. These creatures.
Oh, I don't recognize that. That's from Battlestar Galactica?
Yeah, and they had like a little net that they would wear that came with it,
I don't
and
remember
you
that.
could put the little net and dress them up.
I remember the Cylons.
Land of the Lost, but Daniel Price, is that not the best opening? Did you not want to be those little kids? I wish we could watch it if it wasn't copyrighted.
Do you remember
Just the opening
Sigmund,
alone.
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters?
I remember him too. They had was that the Crofts?
Yes, Sid and Marty
Did
Croft.
Marty Croft. And then they had later on I remember the new zoo review.
Oh yeah. Gary Gnu.
Henrietta Hippo.
Gary Gnu.
Yeah. And then after that we got Barney, which I understand they're making a Barney movie now.
I couldn't get into Barney, man. That's
I
way
couldn't either. That Mexican girl creeped me out. She was way too old to be in that group with them kids.
I don't know what you mean because I never even watched it.
Oh,
I just was like, fuck that shit.
they had all these little kids, like happy little 3 to 4-year-old kids, and they had this like 8 or 9-year-old Mexican girl that was so out of place. I didn't know she didn't match with Barney. She didn't match with the kids. I never understood what she was doing there, and it threw off the whole Barney experience for me. Yes, yes, yes. Who would not want to do that? Because this is what I would do on my Saturday. This was my Saturday mornings. I would wake up real early because this is when TV actually went off air, and then it came back on air in the morning, and they play the anthem. I was up for that, and then eventually the cartoons would come on, and I'd watch them and Land of the Lost type stuff, and then I would go outside the rest of the day and play and act all that out in my head, what I just saw on TV, or
Do
at
you
least I
remember-
would get inspired by it, and then I'd go make my own plots and stuff.
Do you
It
remember
was wild.
Romper Room?
I would my brothers had Romper Room. I was a little older than that. She always reminded me of Miss Roper from the Three's Company,
Oh yeah,
and that confused my little child brain too.
Helen Roper.
Yeah, and Stanley.
Stanley.
They have a Helen Roper. I think it's the gay bars. They have like a Helen Roper night, and everybody puts on their Helen Roper nightgown and their wig, and they all go out to the bar. I never did.
Stanley.
That was Norman Fell. And that's another show that, because that came out the same year as Star Wars, I believe. And that's what I thought like adult life was three. Like when I get older and graduate school, I'm going to be living like Jack Tripper and Janet and Chrissy. That's what I thought life was going to be like.
You wish.
And the Jeffersons.
You wish.
I do wish, actually. I'd give anything to go back to those innocent, naive,
I know.
poor thing types.
Remember Good Times, the show?
Oh my God! Grew up on Good Times. What's happening? Sanford and Son, Soul Train.
Yeah.
All of that. I watched those more than the white people shows.
All in the Family.
All in the Family.
What else? Mary Tyler Moore.
They had those. I never got into like the Bob Newhart, Mary Tyler Moore, Rhoda, all that stuff. I never understood what I was looking at. And the worst one to me that confused me the most was Soap.
Oh yeah, Soap was fucking crazy.
And Mark and Mindy was just weird.
Soap was good though. I mean, it was funny even for children who didn't get all the jokes. You know,
I didn't understand it.
It's kind of like to me, like this girl I know. We were hanging out one morning, and she says she's sitting there watching SpongeBob SquarePants, and I came down and I said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she goes, No, you don't get it. Sit down and watch it for a minute, and you'll see. And I sat down and I watched for a while, and then I heard all the sexual innuendo that was in that show. You know, it's not entirely made for kids. It's you know,
SpongeBob or Soap?
Yeah, SpongeBob.
Oh.
It's made. At least what I saw was made for adults. It was hidden humor that kids wouldn't get, but adults would get. You know.
Yeah, they had a lot of those in the 90s. That kind of adult humor, animated adult humor.
Yeah, in the 90s, I didn't watch it because I was always out. You know.
Well, you were like living your life. You weren't a potato head.
Right.
I mean, I was too in a way, but I was in college at the time.
In the 90s, let me see. Yeah, I was in college for a while.
That's when I was doing philosophy.
Oh, you did philosophy? Okay.
Yeah.
Me too. That was my minor.
Yeah, me too. In fact, my school did not have a major or much of a. They had like a few philosophy professors, and they did not have a philosophy club. So I helped to start the philosophy club
Hmm.
at my school. Me and this other guy that were really into philosophy went to the professors and said we want a philosophy. And we got it like chartered. The school had an official process where you could get a club officially chartered by the school. We did all of that.
Hmm.
It probably lasted for a year or two.
How
But
many
it was so cool though, because we would meet like every couple of weeks and talk about a topic, and the professors would come and they would present all this information on the topic and lead a dialogue, and the public could show up, and that was like very similar to what happens on these panels. And it was
Yeah.
my first time, or not my first time, because we did it in school, but it was my first time as an adult helping to facilitate it instead of just being a participant. And I learned a lot from doing that club.
Yeah. Well, it helps you exchange ideas.
That's
Philosophy.
what it's all about. The like way back in the days of Socrates, before they
Yeah.
killed him.
Well, he killed himself technically, but
Technically, yeah. But somewhat, it was going to happen one way. Actually, he had the chance to escape.
it was
His
state
friends were
owned.
going to break him out, and he said, "No,
Yeah.
can't do
Just to
that. If
prove
you're
a
going to have
point.
a functioning society, you can't break and bend the rules just when it's convenient for you."
He was such a prick that he'd rather die than fucking betray his viewpoint.
Yeah, he was a true patriot to the end. I think he was old too. He's like, "This is my chance.
Right.
Let me
Let's
take
go
it."
easy. Easy way
Yeah,
out.
go
Mm,
out with dignity.
right. Hey man, what do you think of Plato? Like, hang on a second.
Okay.
I gotta go. This is gonna be a minute.
Okay, no problem. We could do it another day too if you need to. I'd love to talk about Plato. I'll give a little. I was reading this Passion of the Western Mind, and it's intellectual history from like the Greeks to more or less the modern age. Um, it's a great book. They come up with a very interesting conclusion, and I'm rereading it, so I want to see how the conclusion strikes me now than it did years ago when I read it. But the conclusion is that the Western tradition is heavily masculinized, and we do need to bring in and start giving more attention to the feminine side of it. And so, as somebody who does consider himself a Western chauvinist and a passionate adherent of the Western tradition, I'm interested to revisit that perspective. But anyway, they're talking about Plato. They're on Aristotle right now, and the contrast with Plato. And in fact, let me show you guys this. I'm sure you've all seen this painting. Um, very famous Renaissance painting. It's called The School of Athens by Raphael. Those of you who know the Ninja Turtles might recognize the name. Okay, I forget which one is which. Okay, this is Plato, the old guy, pointing
That's
upward, and this is Aristotle pointing outward to the physical. Aristotle gave much more emphasis to physical reality than Plato did. For Plato, physical reality was just a crude reflection of actual reality, which was mental and divine.
That's what
And
I wanted to talk to you about because
well,
in some ways, I do believe that, but
like idealism versus
no,
realism or naturalism.
I just believe in some ways that what we see here in the physical world is just maybe some kind of weak shadow of the true reality that may be something eternal.
That is very Platonic. In fact, it's right out of Plato. I think that
Really,
originated with him.
because
Now,
I
of
just
course, you had the example of the Greek gods before that, which kind of stood in for that kind of abstract reality. But Plato refined it into the rational version that we have now. Well, yeah, that is one. I wish Hank were still here because Hank's an idealist as well. I think he would understand that position. And I understand the position. I just don't know what. I just don't know how to not limit it to the human mind. I don't know what gives it a metaphysical existence outside of our own imagination or creativity?
Well, I'll tell you, man. I did DMT, and you know what that is?
Yeah, I haven't done it, but one of my favorite Satanists has a whole podcast channel about
Well, I've done it.
DMT.
I've done it like 11 times, and at least on 2 or 3 of those times, I did what was known as a heroic dose, where people knew my name in the community. They're like, "Oh, you're that guy." They're like, "Yeah, I heard you did more than anybody," and like, and I'm not bragging about that, but what I'm trying to say is that for someone who has gone through that experience, it is the most religious and the most terrifying and beautiful and just amazing experience you will ever have. It's just like you're shot into this other dimension where you're seeing impossible geometry, you're seeing beings that exist within beings. It's like insane. I don't know how to explain it, but it's so profound. The profundity of it is what sticks with you. It's not what you see when you're there. It's the profundity of it afterwards that hits you. You're like, whoa, what was I looking at when I was looking at that? You know? It's something to make you believe in a God. I'm not sure if it's the God of the Bible. I don't think so. I don't think it's the God of Allah. I don't think it's, Muslim, Hindu beliefs, but I think that the Hindus out of everyone are the closest to the truth.
They have the Nagas too, the snake people. Do
Yeah.
you I've experienced some of I've done other psychedelics and had similar experiences, but it all seemed like my brain, like the chemicals were unlocking, interacting with the chemicals in the brain and unlocking these experiences. And as real as they seemed, and some of them seemed very real, if I did not know I was on a drug,
Right.
I would probably think it was reality. And I might not even be sitting here right now.
But DMT is so unreal when you're on it. I mean, if you close your eyes and you do a big ass dose, it's so fucking unreal. It has no semblance to reality whatsoever. You are in an alien area. You're in
But
a
it's
foreign
convincing, like more
but
convincing.
it is real as real gets. It seems more real than this reality.
Have you ever experienced ego death?
Yes, on DMT.
That's what I can't do. I can't let myself go like that.
You have to. Otherwise,
I
you're going to be
can't.
afraid.
I don't know how to do it. I
No,
can always,
the
there's
way to
one
do
little particle of me that still manages to hang on.
it, and that's where the fear comes from.
It is. It is fucking scary.
Yeah. But you have to go into it with no fear. Otherwise, you might have a bad time.
How
Or
do you know when you're, when, like, because you don't really feel yourself going into it, I guess, and then you just suddenly come out of it, like coming out
yeah,
of sleep.
it only lasts 6 minutes at the longest.
That's
Sometimes
too.
4 minutes. But it can seem like 1,000 years because
Yeah.
time doesn't exist in that dimension. Things change and they morph and they go one into the other, but time doesn't seem to exist.
Yeah, I think time is very fluid and subjective as far as humans are concerned. Like there is obviously time that we can measure, like science can measure this thing called time and use it in their equations and their experiments, but humans don't necessarily experience it that way. And I think it's very I don't think we experience time in any particular any kind of stable way.
No, because if you're being tortured, 5 seconds is an eternity. And if you're not being tortured, an hour can seem like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. And relative. I mean, Einstein showed that it was relative too. If you
Right,
send
right.
somebody up in space.
Everything is relative to your mind, to your head, because you're the only one perceiving the universe at this point.
Yes.
As
Yes.
far
That's
as
the
you know.
solution.
So
But all of that is happening within a physical process that
yeah.
preceded the conscious experience that I'm having now.
Well, let me say, do we go on after we die or do we not?
I
I'm
don't
not
think we do.
sure. I'm not
I
sure.
don't see how the consciousness can exist without a brain.
I don't think we exist either, because I think we just go back to absolute nothingness, which
It's
is
like your DMT. We just dissolve, like ego death.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
mean,
this guy says that. Does this mean we're gonna like death is gonna be a very pleasant high for us?
well, it depends. It depends on how you die, right? It is released when you die. He's correct, but I mean, if
We may
it's
not
like an
have enough time to
explosion,
feel it.
yeah, if it's an explosion or something like from a bomb or an IED, you're not going to have time. You know.
I've encountered they were. I encountered at least one. It was fucking scary, and at at the same time, I knew it was my brain, but only by the barest of thread could I keep convincing myself this is your brain. Relax, your brain is producing this because it was so damn real, and it was having like a telepathic dialogue with me, and it was actually interacting with the neurons of my brain on a physical level and changing them, and it was scary. But it
What
was
what
somehow all my brain at the same time.
what Matthew is saying is correct. You're dealing with beings that are external, and you know that they are not from your brain. You just
I don't
know.
know that.
Well, I
They
do.
seem like they are. I've encountered Indian spirits that seem real. They were like in the air in front of me. They were not in my head. I've had experience where mushrooms were actually having a conversation with me and explaining that they were put on Earth. They're a form of intelligence, and they're put on Earth to communicate with humans because our brains are designed to. It was all very convincing,
Mm.
but none of it was outside of my brain. Like ultimately, it was all brain generated. That happens in certain mental health conditions too.
Mm. All I know is I came out of it one day and I ran up to my friend's father, who does not know that we do drugs. And I said to him, I said, "Oh my God." I said, "You have no idea where I've fucking just been." And he says, "Why? Where have you just been?" And then I realized who I was talking to, and I said, "Never mind." But
Uh,
in fact, I had just been to the center of the goddamn universe. you know? I saw them operating everything, whatever they are.
do you when do you still do it?
No, no.
When was you?
I would do it again probably at some point, but
I'm too scared with all the because I did it when I was young before I had all the trauma. Now with the trauma, I don't. Those are not demons that I want to
I'm not afraid of it.
sharpened for me.
I'm not afraid of it. I never have been. I'm afraid of acid because that
Oh,
lasts forever. It
that was
lasts
the easy
forever.
one for me. Acid was the recreational one that I could take and still be around other people and go to
Nah, I
parties and
can't.
socialize.
To me, that's the fucking worst. I mean,
Oh,
because
mushrooms were the ones that knocked me on my ass.
I like mushrooms. They're good.
I could not be out in public on mushrooms. I had to
Mhm.
be in a bedroom in a house with the lights low, some cool music
That's a
on.
good way to do them, but I want to go out in public on mushrooms because I'm a social person, and I think now I'm at the point where I could take it and use it to my advantage to be on them in public.
You could if you live in Oregon.
What?
You could if you live in Oregon.
What? They legal there now?
Yeah. And TML was talking about in Detroit. There's these chocolate bars they have that are
Yeah, I
like
heard about this. Someone got them near me, but apparently it's illegal. Like, so
mm,
you can't get them. And I called a couple like head shops asking near where this person said that they got theirs, but they wouldn't tell me over the phone.
oh,
Obviously,
so it's still like just wait for it to rain and go find a cow field. That's what we did.
Yeah, well, there's one near me, but I've never tried it.
You got to be careful you get in the right one though. And it has all the little worms and bugs in it too. There's no way to get those out. So those are going to your stomach.
I never had that before. I always had the dried shrooms.
Oh yeah, ours were fresh out of the cow. We'd go dig them out of the cow shit
Uh,
and then take them home and put them in a big gumbo pot and cook them down and put a ton of sugar and red Kool-Aid. And
really?
we'd make gallons of the stuff. And we'd drink like a little thimbleful this big and we'd be out for the like just knocked our
Wow,
ass for the night. And we'd
dude,
wake up the next day and be a whole and it was like black and syrupy at that point because all the psilocybin had thickened.
I
And we'd
wish
end
I
up
was
throwing
hanging
most of
out
it
with
away.
you. I wish I was hanging out with you.
It was intense. It got intense.
I had mushroom tea one time, and it was very intense for a very short period of time, and then it faded. But
We would go out in the woods with body paint and like drumming music and do all these shaman ceremonies, and it got really it's the closest thing to like spiritual that
yeah,
I experienced at the time.
yeah,
And even then, like I knew it was my brain, but it still had meaning. Like the spirituality of it still had a positive effect,
it,
even if it
it,
wasn't necessarily real.
it
It had
changes
a
your
benefit.
perception of
Yeah,
reality. It gives you a new outlook on things that
it
you
certainly
hadn't
did that.
previously thought about. You're like, well, I didn't know it could be like this. You know,
Yeah, I'm very. I'm not advising anyone else. I personally am very glad I got to have a psychedelic experience. I think
Mhm.
it enhanced. I kind of what you said. I'm glad I got the experience of having it because I can contrast it to. I have something to contrast to waking reality
Right,
that I would not have had before.
right, and
Plus,
I
it makes
mean,
music sound really cool.
yeah, and we laughed so hard on acid and mushrooms. I mean, I've never laughed so hard in my
Oh my
goddamn
god.
life over nothing. Like we just were hysterical, crying. I couldn't breathe. You know, and it's over nothing. It's over
Over nothing.
just the guy gave me a funny look, and all of a sudden I'm laughing, and now he's laughing because I'm laughing, and then everyone else starts laughing, and it's like stupid. But it's such a bonding experience. It's a nice experience.
Yeah, it's that Dionysian. I think we need both. I think Nietzsche was right. We need that collective Dionysian, maybe not on a mass scale, but on a comfortable social scale. We need to feel like we're merged into part of this larger unit.
We need
And we
community.
need the Apollonian where we individuate and create and build our own unique thing, separate from that.
Human beings are social animals, and they need to belong to something. They need to
Yeah.
belong to a group. And I'm a wolf, a lone wolf, but I love being in a group more than anything.
Yeah. I think we lone wolves don't necessarily need a pack, but I think we definitely need a group we can move in and out of
Yeah, yeah,
when we need to.
right. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I don't know. The world is so weird now that there's no such thing as a group. Even if you're in a group, there's going to be disagreements within the group.
That's why I think a group of individuals is the gives you the best chance of success and stability. When dear, stop it, Daniel.
Hmm?
Don't. This is an entertainment channel. Don't listen to a single thing I say on here. Um, except for the mental health and peer stuff, if you find it useful, I feel like confident about backing that up. Other than that, it's an entertainment channel. Enter at your own risk and don't listen to any of this stuff I'm saying. Don't do drugs, kids. Come on now. We knew that in the 80s with the egg and the frying pan and McGruff. No, that was the crime dog. They had the dare. Who was the dare? Was it a rabbit or was it a dog?
Oh, the dog, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, don't do drugs. I was scared of drugs when I was like in junior high and stuff. They made it seem they put out flyers that there's this new batch of acid going around. It has a Mickey Mouse icon on it. Look out for your kids. So they made not only acid seem scary, but Disney seem scary at the same time. And
Oh,
I was
it
so
is
like,
scary.
there's these scary drugs, but they have cute childhood cartoon stuff on them. This is awful. What kind of diabolical scheme is this? It really made me cynical about the world.
Honestly, I never had anything that had anything like that on it. Like one time we got some acid and it was in little black pyramids that were
Yeah,
like,
the jail, the window pane, and the
yeah, it was
jail.
like a gel,
Yeah,
right?
we had some of that too.
Yeah,
The
and that
window
was
pane was the best. That was the
it worked.
strongest.
It
It was like
worked.
hard candy.
It worked good.
Hey, Daniel Barry, Daniel Price. Yeah, that's what we've come to, huh? It's like that. I can't play it here, but I will put the link. This is a video I think everyone's going to enjoy if you haven't seen it. It's Moby. What's it called? Actually, it's some other group,
Moby
some
Gray.
other name he produced under. Moby and the Void Pacific Choir. It was made in the Trump era. There's kind of a little bit of TDS in it, but it's still a cute video because it shows the childhood we grew up with, and then it shows like the version of that childhood today. It's
Mhm.
animated. So y'all take a look at that on your at your pleasure.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
One day YouTube will evolve on the copyright issue and let information be free in art.
We maybe I'm wrong, but were we talking about AI earlier?
Maybe.
Because
Perhaps.
there's a channel on YouTube called Obscurest Vinyl, and everything on it is a song that has been made by AI.
What?
Yeah, and there are some funny goddamn songs on there. Can I present one of them?
Is it copyrighted? Like none of it's copyrighted?
Well, I don't think it's copyrighted, but
I
because
glued
it's
my
AI.
balls to my butthole again.
No, it's not even that one. It's
Oh.
Trip Watkins. This baptism fucking blows.
And it's a
It's so
completely
funny.
fake song?
Yeah, yeah.
Audience, what do you think? Every time I get talked into playing a copyright thing, I always get a takedown. And
No, here I have it. I don't think it's copyrighted, but
I don't know what the rule on fake. I tell you what, throw it in the private chat. I'll take a look at it
okay.
and I'll make
It's
a
funny.
judgment call.
It's so funny, man. It's like
If not, I'll definitely post it in the chat.
you're gonna love it. I hope it's not copyrighted. I don't know, but I don't think it is
I don't know.
because it's
My
AI. It's
track
AI.
record with taking those risks have not been great.
But it's AI. Who's gonna have a copyright on AI?
Because they have these algorithms that crawl like when they process the video,
Oh.
and it can mistake it for a copyrighted song.
Well, I'll put it in the chat too, so that way they can look at it on their own if they want, right?
Provided to you YouTube by DistroKid. It looks like it's auto generated, released on. It has a little, not a copyright, not a trademark, a P in a circle. What does that mean? It looks potentially copyrightable.
I don't know.
I'm gonna post the link though. Y'all really should check it out. Is this artist Trip Watkins? Is he a completely fake person?
Yes, it's all
Wow.
AI
Oh
generated.
my God.
The whole thing, the lyrics, the music, the singing.
We're not going to
And
be able to tell what's real or like as though we're doing such a great job as it is. Our ability to distinguish fiction from reality is about to get severely fucked.
I'm getting another call. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. We could wind it down too, unless anyone else wants to come up. This was just my little coffee check-in. I may stream tonight, may not. But I will definitely try to get away with streaming the parade tomorrow, and I'm going to try to wear my red bubblegum hat, my patriotic hat, and it has some blue and white, and then a little shrimp on it. So we'll see what reaction that yields. This is a fairly liberal place, but it's also more of a normal place too. Much more so than Seattle itself. So we'll see what happens. I'll stream the 4th tomorrow. All right, I'll at least check in and wish everybody a happy 4th if the streaming doesn't work out. It also depends on my phone and my ability to figure the technology out. All right, take care. Zato, let's continue this.
Well, I don't know.
Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Hang on one second though.
All right.
I'll take care. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
All right. I got shit I got to do. Are you quitting or?
Yeah, we could if you want to. If you got stuff.
No, it's your stream, dude. I just found out I have to go on a mission.
I think that's more important. I support men going on their missions.
Well, no, it's because tomorrow's July 4th and everything's going to be closed. So
Yep. Yep, I might have the same
doing
mission later.
tomorrow? What are you doing tomorrow?
They're having a parade. They're having a whole bunch of stuff here. They're having a race in the morning and then a parade after that, and it's like a block in front of my house. So I think I'm gonna go out there and try to stream it.
Okay.
And then after
Sounds
that,
cool.
they're having some party in the park, building up to the fireworks in the evening. So
Nice.
depending on how my day goes, I might stream parts of that.
I'm doing nothing except cooking baby back ribs because
And hanging out with mom.
and hanging out with mom.
That sounds pretty chill and fun.
It's the same thing every day, though. You know, I mean, it's no different from any other day.
Well, I don't do something to make it special. Get a sparkler or something. I don't know, pop some champagne.
I'll start shooting a pistol off when they're doing the fireworks.
Maybe so. If that's allowed where you are, then
It's
maybe
not.
so.
No, I'm kidding. I don't have a pistol. I'm messing with you.
Something patriotic.
Yeah. I'll bang pots.
Yeah. Go curse. Go use your free speech on something.
Oh, I curse every day.
Do some extra special cursing tomorrow to celebrate the free speech that we won.
Do you know who Brett is, right? The settlement. Brett?
Settlement Brett?
Yeah. He's
I know Brett Weinstein.
No, this guy he swears, he's creative with his swearing and his insults.
Oh, well, I have to have the pleasure one day.
He goes live once in a while. It's usually late at night though. Like I saw him last night, I think at like 2 a.m. or something. So
what's his name?
Brett. He goes by The Settlement on YouTube.
Well, I could at least subscribe to him.
Yeah, he's cool. He'll put you through the ringer. I mean, he's like he will insult the shit out of you, but you can tell that the guy doesn't mean it.
Does he have long hair?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
All right, I think I found him. All right, Brett, I'm going to check you out. And
he's funny. He's funny no matter what. I mean, I think you'll like him because like he had a thing where he's involved in the Karen Reed murder trial because one of the journalists who was supporting Karen Reed had a problem with him because they did a show together on YouTube, I guess. And then he got upset at the settlement, or Brett, and he started taking court action against him. And the settlement, Brett won against him because it was a frivolous court action. He was trying to say that he was threatened, and he wasn't threatened.
Is he a Satanist? He has all kind of satanic.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he's just like us, like an '80s metalhead, that kind of loves that shit.
Looks cool.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He's not a Satanist as such, I don't think.
He's the Gen X version of Satanism, which is what most Satanism is anyway.
Yeah, it's Iron Maiden album.
We gave you rock and roll, and we gave you Satanism. We at least gave you all those two things, which to me are one thing, but.
And kids today still think it's cool because I see people doing Black Sabbath covers every day, and they're kids half my age, And
we gave you Pride, but we'll there's wiggle room on that.
Yep. Well, anyway, my friend, I have to go because I have a mission, and
go get some. Yes, go get stuff done. When a man says he'll take care of it, he'll take care.
I don't know how much of a man I am, but I'm gonna do what I have to do.
Okay, well, we're rooting for you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you for having me up, and as always, it's a pleasure talking with you.
Oh yeah, absolute pleasure. Thank
you. I like you. You're cool.
Well, you too.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Take care. Yeah, almost too good to be true cool. That's a nice these are the conversations that I actually want to have, not all the drama types. When I started the channel, I was hoping for more of this type of stuff. So bring it on, please. Okay, and yeah, definitely let's do the Plato and Aristotle thing, and we can even use the AI to like have a conversation with them. All right, I guess that's it for me today. Thank you. Please subscribe, tell your friends. I'll put my little donation things. I'm going to spoil it. It's Gen X Jeff with a 2 at the end of it. Make sure y'all put the 2, otherwise it will go to some other Gen X Jeff who's not me. And maybe tomorrow I'll check in for the 4th. If I don't see you or hear from you or talk to you, have a great day. If you don't live in the United States, I'm sorry for you. We'll be celebrating for you, and come visit anytime. And have a good rest of the day. Happy July Independence Eve. Take care, folks. Yeah, there we go.